Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that we're in the middle of a Decan walk, and I call this a different kind of Decan walk because, as you probably know, I've got different associations of esoterica to the tarot than you will find on other channels or in generally published books. Yes? And if you're curious about why I have different associations, where I came up with those, what resources I looked at, I've got a whole playlist describing my methodology and my reasons, and I will put a card up here for you to be able to click on and hop on over and watch that if you want to. Yes? But just know, just in case you are new here, that this is a different kind of Decan walk from the other Decan walks you will find. That being said, I think that the associations that we are employing during this Decan walk are fascinating, helpful, and the more I work with this method of associations, the more I appreciate it and I discover how it helps me unpack and see fascinating layers to astrology, Kabbalah, and tarot. And when I'm saying Kabbalah, the purpose for my doing this kind of Decan walk is to try to step as far back away from the Christian influences on Kabbalistic understandings, Kabbalistic writings. I'm trying to go back to the earliest sources that I can find given my abilities for research. So that's what I'm doing. And friends, we're about to dive in, but just in case you are new here, let me tell you what we are about to dive into, and let me tell you that there is a tool available for you. Yes, in the description box below, you will see timestamps. That means that you can skip around to different parts of the video at your whim. Yes, if you want to just see the part of the video that focuses on the one tarot card which represents this Decan, feel free to hop right on over to that, watch that part, and leave if you want. Yes? If you want to watch the whole thing, I'm very pleased and you will make me very happy. But if you only want to watch one part or another, this is a choose your own adventure kind of video. Yes? So, just so you know what the adventure possibilities are, let me give you a brief outline. First, we're going to look at the previous Decan. Now, I'm going to be going away to the United States. When you see this on YouTube, I will already be in the United States. So I'm filming this in advance so that I will have this all prepared and I don't have to worry when I'm in the United States visiting my mother for about 3 weeks. I don't have to worry that I might miss the timing on recording the video for this Decan, or I might not have the correct or adequate environment to record this kind of video. Yes? So I want to get this all prepared. I might record videos when I'm there, but I want to get this series preloaded so that I don't have to worry. Yes? So because of that, instead of my giving you my insights on what happened, because it hasn't happened yet, I'm going to give you questions for reflection. And let me know in the future, would you prefer that I continue with this method of giving you questions for reflection, or do you prefer hearing my insights or my what I've discovered from the previous Decan? Let me know in the comments below which you prefer, okay? So, I'm starting with questions for reflection for the previous Decan. Then we look at two oracle cards, yes, which I'm employing because the creators of those two decks give very nice summaries of the decan we're about to enter. Yes? And then we pull out the one tarot card to focus on the card which represents this decan from the Smith-Waite Tarot deck. And then we look at the two major arcana cards which influence that central minor arcana card for the decan. And if you don't know what I mean, hop on over to that part of the video and you'll see what I'm talking about. And then finally, I pull 3 questions from those 3 cards for this decan. And I use a different deck to help answer those questions. I pull a 3-card spread. And then we're done. So that is what this video is going to be and how it's organized, and you can choose which parts or to watch or watch all of it. It's all open for you. Okay, friends? So, before we begin, let me say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking with me on this different kind of decan walk. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you also for those of you who do those things that you do, for hitting the thumbs up button, for hitting the alarm bell so that you get notifications of when I upload videos. Thank you for those of you who have subscribed. All of those actions tell YouTube to show our channel to other people, and they join us, and our community has grown because of you. Thank you very much. And also, thank you to those who comment in the comment section. You are a true blessing to me. I deeply appreciate you. So, friends, here we are. Let's dive into the previous decan, and I'll have the 3 cards that represented that previous decan up here, right there. And that previous decan, if you recall, was the first decan of Leo. Yeah, and the first decan of every sign is just that sign. So Leo is ruled by the sun, so we have the sun in Leo, right? And you see here, standing in for Leo is the Hermit, and standing in for the sun was the Strength card. And if you forget why those associations are there, go look at the previous video. That will tell you. But here are some things to consider for that decan. Let me ask you some questions. Did you feel vital and alive? Or did you notice your recovery time quickened if you were feeling unwell? Yeah, if you hurt yourself, if you got an upset stomach, if you got a little bit sick, did you notice your recovery time was quick? Or did you feel strong, healthy, almost invincible? Did things start happening in more noticeable ways for you? Did things that you wanted to happen start happening? Did things start manifesting for you in more noticeable ways? Did you start to recognize the next leg of your journey ahead? Yeah, when we come to completion, remember this is the 4 of Wands, right? There's that idea of a milestone. But when we hit the milestone, it's like, sometimes it feels like we've come to a door. I've finished this room, and through the door, I can see the next room ahead. I can see the next leg of the journey ahead. Did you feel that? Did you notice that? Did you allow yourself time to relax during this period of the 4 of Wands? Were you able to free yourself from some of your self-created anxiety and enjoy learning or doing the work? Did you enjoy yourself, and did you get some attention? Or on the other hand, did you give attention to other people? Yeah? Did you applaud other people's success more? Those are all some possibilities that we might have noticed in the previous 10 days. And if you noticed any of those things, let us know in the comments below. We would all love to hear from you. Or there is a community tab available for you. If you want to upload a spread you did, if you want to upload your reflections on the previous decan, blessings on you. Okay, friends, so that was the previous decan. Now, we're about to take a look at the next decan. I will start by showing you the first oracle card. Now, just remember, all of the oracle cards, the books, and one of the tarot decks are mass market and available, and there will be links in the description box below. I don't get any money if you use those links, but they're there for your convenience, or look for those same things on other online shops or in physical shops. I'm just using Amazon links because I know people around the world all have access to those resources. Yes? One of the tarot decks, I'm very sorry, is out of print. You can find it on eBay for relatively, I would say, acceptable prices still. If you consider the price of this deck on eBay, the ones that I've seen recently, and some independent decks, they're about the same. Yeah, so not cheap, a little pricey, but if you're interested, you can get the deck. Yeah, so, but I won't have links to those things. You'll have to look at those yourself. So friends, here we are. Let me show you the first oracle card for this decan. Here it is. You see the card right here, yes? I have a feeling the creator of this oracle deck likes Leos or wants to make Leo people feel good, yeah? You see, the title of the card is Publicity, right? And what do we see on the card? We see an angel, right? Her knee is on a planet, we can assume it's Earth. She is touching the stars and she carries a flag while she is spreading fame, according to the creator of this oracle deck. The oracle deck is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, by the way. Wonderful oracle deck for incorporating astrology, especially traditional astrology, into your readings. So she's spreading fame far and wide, according to the creator. She circles the earth, which has the 4 elements right there. Do you see the 4 elements? It's kind of small. You might not be able to see them. Yeah, there's the word Terra there, and under the word Terra, there's a circle with 4 segments in 4 different colors. Yeah, that is to represent the 4 elements. So according to the creator of this deck, what is this decan? What is Jupiter in Leo? So here we have Jupiter in Leo for this decan. It's enjoying putting on an impressive show, according to the creator. Now it's thinking bigger than usual, expansive thinking. It's taking the lead and getting things done. Why? Because all of these are Sagittarian qualities. Now, the second decan of Leo is keyed to Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. So we've got Jupiter in Leo, right there. And we have those Sagittarian qualities. Yeah? The what? Jupiter aspect of fire. Socializing gives a chance to radiate warmth in this decan. But a creative job might be more enjoyable. Yeah, we might shine and be warm and loving and fuzzy with other people, but if we have a creative project to engage in, that might even be more enticing for us. There's the potential of our talents shining more brightly during this time. And our talents have the opportunity to grow and to mature during this decan. So whatever your talent is, if it's musical, if it's cooking, if it's writing, if it's cleaning the house, if it's dancing, if it's talking, if it's reading tarot, yeah, whatever your talent is, if you have a psychic talent, there's the opportunity for these talents to grow. So maybe giving these talents a little more attention could be beneficial, right? But we want to be careful of becoming pushy. Yeah, we don't want to become the stage mother or the stage parent, the one who's forcing their kid to get out on stage and show off, right? So, nurturing talents, our own talents, nurturing the talents of others, like children, could be beneficial, but again, we don't want to go too far. Does that make sense? So this is a good time. Good time for creativity, good time to focus on the things, our passion projects, whatever they are, our talents, the things we love to do. It's a good time to shine, to take the lead, to be the not the harbingers, but the forerunners in our individual universes. Yes? And not only what? It's not only the publicity of the publicist, but it's the publicity of letting yourself shine and be recognized. I think this would be a good 10-day period to allow that to happen. Yeah, it's not the time to sit in the corner and be bashful or embarrassed. It's the time to allow ourselves to shine brightly in positive, creative, supportive, and loving ways. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best that we can be. Does that make sense? Okay, friends, so that is the first description of this decan. We've got an Egyptian decan to examine briefly. Let me show you the oracle card that describes this Egyptian decan, remembering that the Egyptian decans, let me put this another way, remembering that the Egyptians were the first to describe the idea of time being divided into 36 segments, which we call decans. So they're the ones who came up with this idea, and the Hellenistic Greeks took it and ran with it in their own way. So we're going to look briefly at the ancient root of this decan. Are you all ready, friends? Here it is. The title of this card is Djat. Djat. Now, my pronunciation I'm sure is wrong, but that's as close as I can get. And it means the beginning of the crane. Yes, we are leaving, I should say, the cycle of the cow. Remember? Chemnet? We're entering the cycle of the crane. And the subtitle for this is Construction and Building. So what do we see here? In the card, we see a very clear person with what looks like a basket on, let's say, his shoulder, with maybe mortar, yes? And then we see a lighter figure. Maybe that lightness is to describe distance, farther in the background, because perspective wasn't really a thing at the time of the painting of these kinds of images. People were smaller, but maybe this lightness is because it's farther away. I don't know. But that lighter figure is carrying what looks like 2 bundles of bricks or stones on a stick. There's a name for that, I'm sure. I just can't think of the name of that. So the idea for this decan from the Egyptian tradition is laying foundations for future success. It could be literal foundations, yeah? Putting the base of a that will eventually have a building constructed over it, right? Or it could be more symbolic. We want to lay the foundations of what we're going to manifest in the near or a little bit more distant future. Remember, in the last decan, we were looking through the door, right? We were seeing the path ahead. Well, the first step of the path ahead would be to lay the foundation for the next leg of the journey. Does that make sense? So that is also indicated here in this card. Beginning a project for work or for career is indicated here. It's not just gestating. Yes, that's correct. It's not gestating in a warm womb, but actively constructing our own growth. Which could be in business, it could be in education, it could be in relationships as well. Laying the foundation of a good relationship, that is very strongly indicated in this decan as well. So, it's beginnings of the next leg of whatever journey we're about to embark on. Whatever we're going to be building and manifesting on the next leg of our journey, we're laying the foundations. That makes good sense, doesn't it? And again, it could be literal. If you got land, you're planning to build a house or some kind of structure on it, this is a good time to start laying the foundations. I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Good. So this is the Egyptian decan. I'm curious to see what the next one is going to be, because I imagine the next one is going to be the crane. And I haven't looked ahead to see what the next card looks like, so I'm now very curious what the crane is going to look like. Okay, so friends, we've got another couple of things to think about, to talk about. First, I like to read a little bit of this book. Yes, because the authors of this book focus on the decans, or they call them decanates, with triplicities, which means that all of the planets for the same element are grouped together for each of the signs. Yes? So, for example, for Leo, the 3 fire planets are the Sun, Jupiter, and Mars. So, the 3 decanates of Leo are the Sun in Leo. The second decanate is keyed to Sagittarius, so it's Jupiter in Leo. And the third decanate is keyed to Aries, so it's Mars in Leo. And this book is organized in that way, and it's very well written, gives very good summaries. So, let me entertain you. Let me tell you these authors, 2 authors, yeah? They're Sequoian and Aker. They say, these individuals, which could be us at this time, are alone in a crowd. We might be able to maintain a strong sense of our own direction even against a tide of popular opinion. So everybody else is talking and moving in one direction, we're doing our own thing. However, our understanding of mass psychology can give us an air of aloofness. We understand what everybody else is doing. We understand that something is better. So we might look like we're aloof, yeah? Because of the expansive nature of Jupiter, we might attempt large and impressive enterprises and endeavors. We may seek to impress others by entertaining, by entertaining, yes, that was right, by entertaining in an opulent and magnificent way, yeah, throwing parties. If our tendencies are carried too far, however, we can overreach ourselves, incurring debts and obligations that are difficult or impossible to fulfill. So, we might want to throw a party, but if we go too big, we could be extending ourselves, right? We want to be, look around, understand what other people are doing, understand that we can go our own way, but maybe we want to be aware that we might start looking like we're stuck up, or we are trying to be better than everybody else, or doing something different just to be different. So, some things to be aware of, some things to be careful of, but also realize that we might feel alone in the crowd because we see a different path. And maybe to compensate for that, maybe that's why we're throwing the party, but we don't want to throw it too big. We don't want to drain our resources. Yes? So, from another book, and both of these books have links in the description box, from another book called Decanic, I pull a need. The author gives us a need for each one of the decanics, for each one of the decans. And the need for this one is to give mental expression to optimistic vision so others can share hope and courage. And to promote beliefs and causes. Yes, so we want to voice our optimism so that other people can share in our hope. And we want to promote our beliefs and our causes. Again, we want to be careful of not getting too aggressive with it, but we do want to promote those things as well as promoting ourselves. Remember, the promotion oracle card, which we just saw, right? Publicity. I'm sorry, not promotion, publicity. We want to publicize ourselves, but we also want to promote the beliefs and the ideas and the philosophy that we hold near and dear, especially the optimistic and hopeful aspects of that philosophy. Okay, friends, so we're about to jump into the tarot card for this decan. Do you know what it is? Are you ready for it, friends? Here it is. Friends, the Five of Wands, right? Now, we were talking about very, very optimistic, positive things, weren't we? And then we come up with this card. And what do we usually think of when we see this card? We think of conflict, right? We think of maybe competition, but also fights. What we said didn't really seem like a very fighty kind of decan, did it? However, just at a casually thinking about what we were just talking about might help us realize that if we are going our own way and other people notice that we are going a different way, even if we are trying to radiate optimism and hope, other people who have their own idea, which is different from ours, might want to argue over those things, right? There could be a conflict of even optimistic ideas, which could be indicated by this card. But what are we looking at when we see this card now? We're looking at the Five of Wands being a stand-in for this decan, which is Leo, keyed to Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. So we have Jupiter in Leo. So we have the mutable aspect of fixed fires, vital attributes entering our world during this decan. Mutable aspect wants to clean things up and integrate so that we're ready for the next thing. Fixed is saying, no, Leo says, here I am, this is the right thing, look at me, look, this is good, this is right, this is true, let's play. And Sagittarius is saying, no, let's get going, and there's a little bit of a tension there, right? When this card is upright, I might think of things like rivalry that strengthens. What if those ideas of conflict are when this card is in reverse or reversal? Yeah? Upright, perhaps, this card could be indicating rivalry, when we butt up against each other and for the purpose of strengthening each other. And that could be physically, yeah. All the fire signs are have the potential for enjoying physical activity, whatever that is. It could be sexual, it could be sport, it could be exercise, it could be dance, it could be moving the body. There's that. And then we do that by butting up against each other to strengthen each other, right? So that could be that too. We have the potential for cultural leadership. But to become the leader, we might need to butt up against other people to figure out who is actually the leader here, right? Understanding of social and cultural trends. We can mold public opinion. But we're not going to be molding public opinion like the Seven of Wands with the guy standing on top of the hill. We're here in the milieu of society doing that. When we get to the sevens, when we get to Sagittarius, that's the Seven of Wands. Yeah? Here we are in Leo. We're right among everybody else. We have philosophical leanings here. Yes? We can maintain our own direction against the flow of public opinion. And because of that, again, we may seem aloof. The idea here is improvement. We're seeking improvement. We're seeking the brave new world. And we're quick to notice weakness. We don't want to take advantage of people who we notice are weak, but we do notice weakness. And hopefully we can shine our good light on that weakness to help strengthen that other person or those other people. We have optimism and integrity available to us here in this decan. We believe in our own luck, Jupiter, right? We attempt large and impressive enterprises or endeavors. We try to go big, yeah? Again, Jupiter. We desire superiority in sports, maybe. So upright, this card wants me to ask, what tensions or competition is testing my will? What tensions or competitions are testing my will? Because the willpower of Leo, right? Now, because it's the second decan, the ruler of Leo is the sun, we have the sun in its complement. And the sun in its complement is Capricorn. So, when the sun is in Capricorn, ego is tested by structure. Yeah, the earthy, structure-desiring Saturnian Capricorn. When the sun goes in there, the ego is a little tested by that structure. But competition sharpens our identity. Yeah, when we butt up against other people, we know better who we are. Our authority is challenged productively. We feel like we are the authority. It gets challenged, but that increases our understanding, our command, our vision. And this creative friction up here is beneficial if we allow it to be. Now, if on the other hand we encounter this creative friction and we say, why is everybody always messing with me? Why won't anybody just let me do what I want to do? Then that will collapse our potential. But if we feel this friction and we allow it to hone our talents and mature our talents and mature our creativity, we will grow, we will blossom, we will expand, just like Jupiter wants us to. Yes, and remember, Jupiter is right here in Leo now, physically, right here in the world. At this time, Jupiter is cruising through Leo. So remember that as we continue talking about this decan. Okay? Okay. So, friends, we're about to look at the two major arcana cards that inform this card up here. Are you ready to take a look at those? Here they are. So, you see, from left to right, we have the Hermit standing in for Leo. We have the Five of Wands standing in for this decan. And then we have the Empress standing in for Jupiter. Now, if you've been following along, you should not be surprised. You know that for us, here in this different kind of decan walk, the Empress is Jupiter. And I like that. And the more we walk this decan walk, the more I like it. Because I'm not hung up on, well, Jupiter's a boy and the Empress is a girl. There is an entirely different way of understanding Jupiter, the qualities of Jupiter, that really do reflect the Empress, if you ask me. So, let's dive into the Hermit first, yes? The Hermit doesn't look like much of a Leo, does he? But remember, there's the Tree of Life right here, right? And you can see where it's lit up. You can see that the Hermit lights up the path from Chokmah to Tipreth. Yes? And let's see, for you, that would be where? That's my right, so your right would be here. From Chokmah to Tipreth. Yes, it should be in this direction. Which means it is connecting wisdom, received wisdom from the divine, to beauty and the heart chakra. That sounds like the path of the Hermit to me, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like that to you? Connecting wisdom to the heart chakra, to beauty. Why does it do that? Well, because the Hermit is associated with the Hebrew letter Tet. And Tet is a Hebrew letter which is a basket. It's also the womb, the place of new life. It's also, if you look at the letter, it kind of looks like a serpent with both its tail and its head up. It can also be a spinning wheel. I'm sorry, not a spinning wheel, but a spinning wheel where we make thread. It's the possibility of good or evil. But it's also concealed potential. And number 9 is the number of truth in numerology, especially for the Hebrews. Yes? The number of truth. Great for the Hermit, right? The womb of new life. Yeah? If we think of the serpent not as the evil serpent, but as the serpent of wisdom in more ancient traditions, that sounds good for the Hermit as well. Now, the rune that would be associated to Hermit is Hagalaz, which is not the happiest of runes. It's the destructive and unpredictable forces, I should say. It's the destructive and or unpredictable forces of either nature or the unconscious. But it's also then something that the Hermit would give attention to, right? It's also perfect inner harmony, something that I think matches the Hermit very well. Now, what does Leo mean in Hebrew astrology? There are many things. There is the idea of strength and kingship, royalty, power, authority, glory. But it's also the element of fire. And that could be the fire that is consuming, like a house on fire, or the fire of judgment, the fire of destruction, or it could be the fire that does not consume. Think the burning bush in when Moses goes up Sinai and encounters the burning bush that does not consume itself, right? It's the shining truth of light. Think of the hermit's lantern, right? It's the shining truth of light, of love and protection. It's also the shining light indicating this is holy ground. So take your shoes off, right? It's the holy light, the holy ground is indicated here. Also, a good thing for the hermit card, I think. It's to transform potential negativity into positive light. So you can think of the burning bush, that bush which does not consume itself, consumes negativity and turns it into light. It's conquest over evil. Yeah, Leo is here to conquer evil. And if we think of more ancient astrology, the lion is poised above the constellation of Hydra, the evil multi-headed snake, and the Leo lion conquers it. So there's that idea of crushing the head of the evil serpent. An ultimate victory of good over evil. Those could be good qualities for Leo, but also for the hermit as well, don't you think? So we have those qualities here in the Five of Wands card, yes? Conquering evil, yes? Transforming negativity into the shining light of truth. But also, we butt up against each other maybe to determine which one of us is the king, right? Which one of us is going to have the power and the authority and maybe even the glory. In a friendly way, not necessarily in a, I'm going to beat you down so that I could be on top. Not that way. Because right next to this we have the Empress here for Jupiter. And you can see Empress is lit up in two places here, right? Because the Empress has a Hebrew letter, Gimel, which connects Binah, understanding, and Gevra, severity, on the mother pillar. So there the Empress is on the mother pillar. But Gimel is also associated with the planet Jupiter, which is over there on the father pillar, right? In Chesed, which is loving kindness. So we've got loving kindness for the Empress on the father pillar. On the mother pillar, we have Gimel, which connects our understanding to our severity. Think of the strict mom. Yeah, we've got on one side that, and on the other side, loving kindness, both meshed together here in the Empress card. Sounds very appropriate to me. And Gimel is the Hebrew letter for a camel or a rope, the rope to lead a camel perhaps. It's also the benefactor. The benefactor which walks to the next letter, Dalet, which is associated with the emperor. And Dalet is the weak one, the one that is humble, and Gimel walks over to care for the weak one. So there's that compassionate side of the Empress as well. Now the rune associated with this, because this would be the third rune, is Turizaz, which kind of looks like a stick with a thorn on it. And it is the rune for a thorn. It's the rune for power. And sure, the Empress has power. But it's also the rune for protection and defense. So, where the emperor might be the conquering emperor, the empress is the protecting one, the defensive one. The one that overcomes obstacles. The planet Jupiter in Hebrew astrology is the planet of justice and righteousness. It is benevolence and expansion. Benevolence, expansion, Empress. Very good, I think. It's also boundlessness. It's also the outpouring of divine love and grace. All wonderful attributes that I think are very well aligned with the Empress. So these things are here to combine in the Five of Wands. Yes, the defensiveness, overcoming obstacles, Five of Wands, the outpouring of divine love and grace is here too, but there's a boundlessness and an expansion with that idea of burning up negativity and shining forth of the light of love and protection in the Hermit, combined with the regal glory of Leo, even in his Hebrew astrology, the conquest over evil. And we're not saying that that four of these five guys here in the Five of Wands are evil. That's not what we're saying. But there's the potential to do that. But there's also the potential to butt up against each other, to expand, to grow, in benevolence, in righteousness, for improvement. All things that we've been talking about already. Can you see how that can expand our understanding of the Five of Wands and expand the possibilities that are available to us here during this decade? I think they're absolutely wonderful. And I love that the two sides of the Tree of Life are slightly lit up here with the Empress and the Hermit. There's a nice balance here. Connecting wisdom and the heart, connecting understanding and our severity, and we have the Five of Wands lighting up Gevurah, which is severity, which kind of makes sense given this image. But we also have the matching side of Chesed, loving kindness, lit up with the Empress. All very, very beautifully balanced, in my perspective. And then in the center, we have a path right to the heart, to beauty, through the Hermit as well. Okay, friends, so you know, the next step is I ask a question, and I have an out-of-print deck to use to answer those questions. The question I pulled from the Hermit this time is, how can I point the way? Remember, Sagittarius wants to show the way forward, right? So the Hermit, holding his lantern there, how can I point the way? How can I do that action of the Hermit? From the Five of Wands, I wanted to ask, well, there is the potential of butting up against each other, so how can I avoid conflict? How can I keep the competition, the butting up of things positive and not slip into the negative side of the Five of Wands where it becomes conflict? How can I avoid conflict? And then from the Empress, I want to know, where can I focus my creativity? Right? We've got that expansion, we got the benevolent boundlessness, we have benevolence, but and grace, but we also have creativity here. So where can I focus my creativity? That's also indicated in the Five of Wands, right? And in this decan. So again, those three questions. How can I point the way? How can I avoid conflict when doing that? And where can I focus my creativity? So friends, I've got that deck I used last video all ready for us. Let me show you the response from the Hudes Tarot. Here it is. Friends, I don't know. Apparently, this deck likes coughing out swords and pentacles. If you recall from last week, yeah, the spread was all swords and pentacles. We've got one sword and one pentacle again this spread. And remember, those are elementally ill-dignified. But, you know, considering the questions I was asking, yeah, how can I point the way and how can I avoid conflict? There was a tension between those two questions. And so the responses, being elementally ill-dignified, might make sense. And then we have the joyous and happy Tower card. Yes? Okay, so friends, first, let's look at these cards from a top layer of reading, right? So how can I point the way? Seven of Swords. And we've got a very nice, clean image of the Seven of Swords from the Hudes Tarot. You'll notice that the titles are in German because this is my German printing of the deck. Yeah, I got this deck because I could still get this deck. It was still in print, or still available in Germany when I discovered the Hudes Tarot. So I got the German version. Later on, maybe several months or a year later, I found an English version of the Hudes Tarot at a fairly reasonable price, so I got that one too, but I'm a little bit precious of that version of the deck. So I generally use this one because they're the same, really, except for the titles at the bottom. They're the same. I wish that hopefully next video, which will be the third time and the last time I'll be pulling this deck out for this series, I hope a wand comes out, because the name of the wands in German just makes me laugh. It makes me think that it should be the swords. So hopefully there will be a wands card for next Decan, and then I can show you why I giggle when I see it. Okay, so friends, here we go. Seven of Wands for the question, how can I point the way? See the guy, very nice outfit. We don't see any of the tents that we would see in a Smith-Waite deck, but carrying 5 swords, leaving 2 behind. And a lot of people see this card as theft, as robbery. I generally do not, especially when I look at this more esoterically, but even before I dove headfirst into astrology and Kabbalah associated with Tarot. Before I took that leap, the way I saw this card was going your own way, cutting your own path, not following the crowd. I'm going to take my ideas and I'm going to go my own way. Yeah? So, how can I point the way? Well, by owning your perspective, owning your ideas, owning your beliefs, and going your own way. And if we go our own way, other people will notice. And if other people notice, I'm pointing the way, right? I'm not grabbing them by the neck and dragging them along. I'm going my own way. And because I know it is the best way, or a better way at least, other people will follow. Does that make sense? Now the guidebook says for this card, new plans, new plans, desires, perseverance, efforts, hope, confidence, imagination, and partial success. Yes? The creator, Susan, what is her middle name? Susan D. Hoods? J. Hoods? Anyway, Susan Hoods, in her guidebook, doesn't point to theft or doesn't point to stealing from other people, right? She points towards new plans, desires, perseverance, hopes, all very well aligned, I think, with the astrological associations that I will place on this card in just a little bit. So even without that layer, she's pointing in that direction. Now, the next card, how can I avoid conflict? Well, we're doing the work of the Three of Wands. I'm sorry, the Three of Wands. We've got wands on the brain. The Three of Pentacles. And do you recall, we had the Eight of Pentacles last time. And the Eight of Pentacles is the guy, well, in that card, it's a woman. For this deck, it's a woman working alone inside of her stone building. And on her workbench, there is one red mass that she is chiseling at, and there are 7 other red pentacles over the archway. Now, interestingly, for this card, the Three of Pentacles, we do not have the 3 people inside of what looks like a holy structure, maybe a cathedral, working on constructing this building together. 3 levels of society. We see the plans, we see the workmen, we see maybe a cleric, we see maybe a person from the court, not the judicial court, but the royal court. Here, we've got another lone workman this time, working on a red mass in front of him with 3 coins up above, which is interesting because in the 8 of coins, from what I recall, there were 7 above and she was working on the 8th. Here we've got 3 above, and then there's a 4th that is being created, which is interesting. But still, I get the idea of focused work on creation. And this card is just a little bit confusing for me without adding on a layer of astrology, because this really does remind me so much of the Eight of Pentacles. So, what does the guidebook say for this card? The guidebook says, great skill in relation to business and work. Makes me think of the Eight of Pentacles. Superiority, perfection, artistic abilities, dignity, fame, and rank, and power. All things that make me think of the Eight of Pentacles. But do you remember what the Eight of Pentacles said in the last decan? It said teaching, craftsmanship. So instead of just great skill in relationship to the business or the work that we do, we had the teaching, the craftsman aspect highlighted. Quickness of learning. Learning was highlighted in that Eight of Pentacles. Openness, humility. Personal effort. Whereas here we have superiority, perfection, artistic abilities, dignity, fame, rank, power. Which, very interestingly, also matches the astrological reading we're about to do when we get to it. So, how can I avoid conflict? Well, I avoid conflict by focusing on my own work, right? With dignity, moving towards perfection, honing my artistic skills and my artistic abilities, which was already indicated, if you recall, for this decan. Fame, right? Allowing ourselves to be seen, also indicated in this decanate. Yeah, all of those things. That's how I avoid conflict, not by going out to fight with other people if their ideas are wrong. I avoid conflict by focusing on myself and my work and allowing myself and my work to be seen, visible, with dignity. And maybe my fame will increase. Maybe I will get natural publicity. Yes? Then we look at the Tower. Where can I focus my creativity? Have you ever thought of creativity when you saw the Tower card before? What do we see here? Very typical Tower card. A very typical Tower card. We see the lightning coming down. We see the crown top of the tower cracking open. We see the flames coming out. We see 2 figures leaping from the burning tower. We also see two trees, which is interesting. They look like dead trees, but they are trees, and they are standing. But we have that lightning coming in to crack open a tight structure, right? So, where can I focus my creativity? I can focus my creativity by breaking open the boundaries, the bonds, the confinement that maybe I have put myself in, by allowing myself to free myself. Focusing my creativity is in breaking free of the framework that I have been trapped in. Does that make sense? Now, what does the creator of this deck say? It's complete and sudden collapse of old beliefs. That could be good. Yes, remember, we're talking about the Sagittarius aspect of Leo. We have new beliefs now. We're moving forward to ahead of the crowd with a new understanding, with a new philosophy. Abandonment of past relationships. Ending friendships. It could be required. We might need to cut ties to people who might be holding us back. A change of mind. Yes, unexpected events. Well, we focus our creativity on releasing ourselves from that which could be holding us back. We focus our creativity on allowing and creating the environment where unexpected events can feed our evolution. Does that make sense? Okay, so friends, you've already seen this tree of life. And I forgot to turn my tree of life over so that I can see what you're seeing here. Let's go into the esoteric levels of this question. Yes? Going back to the Seven of Swords. How can I point the way? Well, for us, the Seven of Swords is Gemini. It's the first Decan of Gemini. So that means it's the rulership of Mercury. So we have Mercury and Gemini. And we have mutable air's vital attributes entering our question here. So mutable air. Cleaning up our thoughts and our minds and getting ready to move on. So there's intellectual capacity here. Quick perception, curious minds, and inquiring minds. And I'm not talking the Enquirer, that rag of publications from the United States, but inquiring, yes? There's the potential of nervousness and restlessness. Geminis can get that way, right? But there is the possibility of insight here too. How can I point the way? It's by receiving insights. Maybe not being in-depth thinkers, and maybe we skate over the surface, but we do skate forward. And we allow insight to reveal itself. So a question I might ask of this is, what assumption or strategy needs reconsideration? And when I reconsider, I will find the path forward, and that's how I point the way. Now, because we have Mercury here in the first decan, we have Mercury 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we have Mercury in its domicile. I'm sorry, in its complement. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Little bit of a brain glitch. Yes, we have Mercury in its complement, which is Pisces. Okay, Pisces. What does that mean? We have awareness of ambiguity possible here, right? Our thoughts are infused by emotion or by symbol. Symbolic information might become more available to us, which will feed into that Sagittarian desire for progressive philosophy. Multiple interpretations can coexist. Gemini, yeah? This idea, this interpretation can coexist here. And our minds are permeable to new information. And that can feed our new understanding, our new ideas, our insights, which is the way that we are able to point the way forward. And so, how can I avoid conflict? We are now here in the Three of Pentacles, which is the third decan of Capricorn. Capricorn is cardinal earth. And the 1, 2, and 3, the ace, the 2, and the 3 are those three decans of Capricorn. So, because it's the third decan of Capricorn, it is keyed to Virgo. Remember how I said we had Mercury in the Seven of Swords because it's the first decan of Gemini? Here we have Mercury in Capricorn. Again, Mercury is chiming in. So we have the mutable aspect of cardinal Earth's vital attributes entering our spread here. And upright, we can think of the ideas of competent construction. Yeah? Mercury also likes doing things with the hands, making things. And the Capricornian competency comes in together with that. We're attracted to status through specialized skill. Capricorns want to climb to the top of the mountain, but Virgo Mercury people are interested in the skill. So we use that skill to ascend. Yes? We're organizational and we have good management skills. We might like math or clerical work, maybe, but that's not so important. What's more important is organizational skills and management. That's how we can avoid conflict, right? Our idealism could be beneficial. But what kind of idealism? It's simple, it's elegant, and we use that simplicity and elegance to create a good impression. And if we do that, we avoid conflict, right? So, in this decan, we are untiring workers. We're able to do intense labor. We build concrete things. And the question I might ask is, how can this work take effective form? And by focusing on that, we can avoid conflict. Now, because it's the third decan, and Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, we have Saturn in its exaltation, which is Libra. And when Saturn is in Libra, structure is refined through cooperation, thus ameliorating conflict, right? Skill is recognized within a system. Remember publicity, our skill is recognized. We have a balanced contribution. And form is perfected through the proportion of Libra. It's not only for getting to the top, it's also done with proportion. Which, again, softens the potential for conflict. Does that make sense? Now we enter the world of the Tower. For us, the Tower is Capricorn. Now, isn't that interesting? Yeah? Seven of Swords, we had Mercury. The Three of Pentacles, we had Mercury in Capricorn. And the Tower, we've got Capricorn. Why is it Capricorn, you may ask? I hear your voices. Capricorn is associated to the Tower because the 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Ayin. And you can see it lit up over here on the Tree of Life. It connects Binah and Tiferet. It connects our understanding and loving, and I'm sorry, not loving kindness, understanding and beauty, the heart chakra. And it cracks open the heart chakra, perhaps, which is what we see on the tower. But Ayin is also associated with Capricorn, okay? So we have cardinal Earth's vital attributes entering our question and our spread here. Ayin is what? What is that letter? It's the eye. And if you think of the tower in the Thoth deck, you can see that eye up in the heavens, right? And the lightning coming down from it to open up the tower. So that eye is a good match for the tower for me. It's also being able to see because of the eye, to understand. Remember, it connects understanding to beauty. The light of God. Hey, what could be better for the tower? Insight, perception, good for the tower, and inner vision. That light from within, the vision from within, exploding out of the confines of the tower. Very positive ways of understanding the tower, right? Now, because it's the 16th letter, it is associated with the rune Sowilo, which looks like an S. And it's a rune we want to be careful of because the Nazis appropriated it for their SS symbol. But remember, this is not the Nazi rune. It was appropriated by the Nazis. So it is not that. It is the sun. And that sun is what is perhaps sending that energy down to crack open the tower. Right? It's success, it's knowledge, it's will, it's victory of the release from the tower, perhaps. So, because we've got Capricorn here, and what is Capricorn for Hebrew astrology? It is, get this, where can I focus my creativity? With Capricorn, here we have contemplation, we have deep understanding, and spiritual reflection. We also want to look in, to be able to have the energy and insight to burst out, right? Now, remember the figure of Capricorn is part goat. And when we think of the goat in ancient times, in early Hebrew, Jewish tradition, goats were used for one, to offer at the temple. So there's the goat of sacrifice. But there's also the goat which was to take all of the sins of the community and it was sent out into the wilderness. It was the scapegoat, right? So Capricorn gives us both. It's the goat of sacrifice and the goat of carrying our sins away into the wilderness. Here with Capricorn, we have the spiritual tools to navigate times of difficulty, hardship, cleansing, tower. We have the potential to survive this tower moment, right? We have the spiritual tools to navigate those. And where can I focus my creativity? On developing those tools. And remember, our spiritual ambition for this time ascends to higher levels of consciousness and connection with the divine. So that idea of the goat going up the mountain is not necessarily to become CEO. It's to become closer to the divine. Yes? To rise in consciousness. That's another way to think of that Capricornian trait here in the Tower card. And there's a balance between the grounded aspect of the earthly nature of the goat and the deep emotional, spiritual waters of the subconscious from the fishy tail of Capricorn. right? There's the grounded earthy and the watery spiritual aspect combined with the Capricorn creature and here. So the work is to elevate the physical to the spiritual. That's where we can focus our creativity. And if we do that, we can, especially if we continue avoiding conflicts, we can point the way. As the good Leo's keyed to Sagittarian people we can have the potential to become during this decan. That sounds very powerful, invigorating, philosophically beautiful, and spiritually expansive to me. How does it sound to you? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This sounds wonderful. So friends, I wish the wonder and beauty of this decan for you. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.